Hello and welcome to the Slovak Snapshots podcast, created by Aktuality.sk. My name is Zorislav Poliak and I'm bringing you the most captivating and important stories from across Slovakia. Each week we'll dive into the headlines that matter, from breaking news to heartwarming stories. So, whether you're local or a global listener interested in Slovakia, we got you covered. It is February 3rd and you are listening to the Slovak Snapshots podcast. Igor Matovič enters the presidential elections.
Chcel povedať, že nebojte sa. Nevidíte pred sebou budúceho prezidenta a nie je to ani mojou úlohou, mojím snom a nie je to ani v reálnych schopnostiach v krajine, ktorá doslova trpí neláskou k pravde.
Don't worry, you don't see the next president in front of you. It's neither my role nor my dream. It's not in the real abilities in a country that suffers from a dislike of the truth. Igor Matovič said. He is convinced that he will not make it to the second round. At the same time, he confirmed that he is not going to harm the campaign of Ivan Korčok, but he will spice it up for the candidates. They don't need us at all. They don't need us in the squares. They don't need us in the various other activities of the opposition. And they say that the opposition is better off without us. I think they are more afraid of the truth, and they are uncomfortable listening to that truth. That's why they play the same game that the ruling parties play with us, that they eliminate us from the discussions. Matovič continued. The movement claims that there is no democracy in Slovakia anymore and that a few rich people control the media. This is precisely why Matovič didn't want to run for the post of the head of the state. However, he eventually accepted the candidacy. Our sympathizers and voters called us that they had no one to vote for, said Michal Šipoš. Meanwhile, the movement Slovakia submitted the signatures of members of the parliament just before the deadline for submitting candidacy. If we had just let this campaign run its course, we would have seen such a strange picture in the end. We would see one Ivan Korčok with the mafiosi and the losers discussing who should be the president. So that's why I declare for the fight from the other lane. I want to have the democratic candidates back, and especially by creating a corridor of truth and asking even uncomfortable, but in any case adequate questions, Matovič said. The movement Slovakia entered parliament in a coalition with the For the People party and the Christian Union party. It was these two parties that presented their own conservative candidate, historian Patrik Dubovský. According to the member of parliament Veronika Remišová, Slovakia lacks a conservative candidate who would run for the presidential chair in the upcoming elections. Together with Christian Union, they therefore supported the candidacy of historian Patrik Dubovský. He doesn't have a disruptive political past, explains Veronika Remišová. She also wants conservatives to be able to choose from the other candidates, such as Štefan Harabin or Andrej Danko. The government amendment abolishing the special prosecutor's office is to be corrected. Adjustment to the amendment to the criminal code comes with modifications regarding the number of damages in criminal offenses and addresses when the new rules will come into force. It is supposed to be from the mid-March. Although this proposal makes changes, the coalition's intention to abolish the office of the special prosecutor remains unchanged. The proposal focuses on adjusting the damage thresholds that determine the seriousness of offenses, and, in some cases, there is also a tightening of penalties. Tibor Gašpar from the Smer party has tabled a proposal which, among other things, postpones the date of the amendment's entry into force to March and confirms the intention to abolish the office of the special prosecutor's office. Although the proposal contains some responses to criticism, it is essentially a minor amendment that doesn't address the main concerns expressed by the opposition. The opposition points out that the proposed changes don't offer a realistic compromise and that the planned abolition of the special prosecutor's office will undermine the effective fight against corruption and organized crime. The government's amendment also touches on the rules on limitation periods for various offenses, defining different periods for different types of offenses. Criticism is based on the speed with which the government coalition promotes the adoption of the amendment without a detailed expert assessment and, moreover, in a shortened legislative process. The opposition and the public also criticize the proposed mitigation of penalties for economic crime and corruption. The key factor for determining the seriousness of the crime is the amount of damage caused, while the amendment significantly adjusts these limits. The opposition pointed out that the original level of damage at which an offense is considered serious was set too high, and the new proposal makes only a slight adjustment to these thresholds. Despite some relaxation of the criteria for determining the level of damages, the opposition still sees the proposed changes as insufficient and argues that the abolition of the Special Prosecutor's Office will have serious consequences for the rule of law and the fight against crime. The Slovak junior is the champion of the Australian Open.
The number one seed claims her crown. The Slovakian sensation, Renata Yemrikova, wins the Australian Open Junior Girls Championship.
Slovak tennis player Renata Yemrikova triumphed in the junior singles at the Australian Open. She won the final 6-4, 6-1 over the 6th-seeded Emerson Jones. On Saturday, Renata Yemrikova became the third Slovak tennis player to triumph in the Grand Slam junior singles in the era of independence. At the Rod Laver Arena, she imitated Tereza Mihalíková, who won the Australian Open in 2015. Kristina Kučová found no defeat at the US Open in 2007. While Martin Kližan lifted the precious trophy at Roland Garros over his head in June 2006. Yemrikova failed to start the final match, lost her serve in the second game, and Jones took a 3-0 lead after confirming the break. At 4-1, the Australian had another opportunity to break her opponent's serve, but Yemrikova held her serve, which gave her a big boost. She won 5 games in a row and thus the first set. The second set was a clear-cut affair for the talented 16-year-old Slovakian, who built up a 4-0 lead after the 2 break points. I'm very happy. I played my best tennis all week. I started to feel nervous, which was because I was playing against the home player in the Rod Laver Arena, but then I told myself that I had to enjoy every single shot on the court. From that moment on, I played great and pulled through to the overall triumph, Renata Yemrikova told the tournament's official website. In addition to Renata Yemrikova, figure skater Adam Hagara also did well. He won a silver medal at the Winter Youth Olympic Games.
Adam Hagara of Slovakia. Wow, what a performance.
Never boring Slovakia.
Did you know that the highest peak of the Carpathians is in Slovakia? The mountain range is huge and passes through Austria, Czech Republic, Poland, Romania, Serbia, Slovakia and Ukraine. Gerlachovský štít in the High Tatras National Park is 2,654 meters high, which is around 8,700 feet. Even the first 10 highest mountains of the Carpathians are also located in Slovakia. And there you have it, another the Slovak Snapshots podcast in the books. We hope you enjoyed this weekly adventure through the newscape of Slovakia. Remember, knowledge is power, so go ahead and impress your friends at the next gathering with your newfound facts. But hey, don't take yourself too seriously. Life's too short not to enjoy a good laugh. We'll be back next week with more stories that will keep you informed and entertained. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep sharing those lovely smiles.